Japan, Part 161. Because gun control is very tight, because police are well trained in hand-to-hand combat, because they amass overwhelming numbers when demonstrators assemble, and because they can count on public support, the police are less likely to attack a suspect out of fear, because they feel quite confident they can be firm and definite without needing to fight with or overwhelm a suspect. The policeman is so certain that a suspect who has done wrong will be punished by the arm of the law that he can even behave sympathetically to unfortunate violators. The Japanese police themselves may detain a person up to 23 days for investigation without a court order, but they are cautious about doing so without substantial reason. Having ample time to interrogate subjects, Japanese police do not have to act in haste, although they do make every effort to conclude investigations quickly. Japanese police also make every effort to be mild in their punishment. In the United States, in 1973, about 45% of those who were convicted were sent to prison. About 41% were allowed out on probation, and about 6% more were fined. In Japan, by contrast, about 95% of those who were found guilty were fined, and less than 5% were sent to prison. In 1972, approximately 40,000 Japanese were in correctional institutions, compared to approximately 340,000 Americans. Former Japanese prisoners are, of course, under the surveillance of the local police in the neighborhood, to which they return even without being on probation. Since the local community cooperates in observing any strange behavior and the police know the location of the former prisoner, they can promptly handle any problems that they may arise. If one commits a serious crime in Japan, one is almost certain to be caught, but the punishment is likely to be relatively mild. In the United States, the proportion of wrongdoers apprehended is low. The person who is tried, found guilty, is treated much more harshly. As a result, the American public harbors doubts about the justice of the criminal system, and the potential wrongdoers has a much greater chance of escaping detection, or through technicalities or use of skilled lawyers, avoiding punishment. In Japan, less public dissatisfaction is generated against the system because most offenders are punished, and punishment is not so severe as to be judged unfair. As Donald Klein, comparative political scientist, has said, that the Japanese handling of crime demolishes some firmly held theories and enshroud America with the veils of pessimism. It's simply untrue that the massively populated cities are surefire breeding grounds for crime and public disobedience. Japan's history is equally, if not more, violent. Violence is also part and parcel of Japanese television. Yet now violence in Japan is extremely rare. As paradoxical as it may seem, Japan is more successful in controlling crime in the highly populated areas than in other areas. William Clifford attributes the differences to underlying philosophy. Crowding people into cities under a banner of absolute privacy and maximum individual liberty as a right regardless of the interest of the others makes crime difficult to control. Japan has kept the citizens within social boundaries, group allegiance, and community constraints.